Hi, I'm Susan from In the Garden Sue, and today we're going to be talking about garden tool designs for the elderly and people with arthritis. We're going to talk about all the different things, different characteristics of tools that make it a great ergonomic tool. Stay tuned. Number one, the first thing you want to know is your tool lightweight when you go to pick out a tool? If it's made of plastic or aluminum, then you know it's generally lightweight. If you're carrying around a heavy tool, it's going to cause muscle strain, and throughout the day, you're going to feel that muscle strain more. So when you go to pick out tools, lightweight. The second thing is the hand diameter of the tool itself. Now the Journal of Hand Therapy just came out with the diameter should be around 1.3 inches. So I always tell people that if you go like this and you have a tiny bit of overlap, I measured my diameter here, and that's 1.3 inches. So that was just about right. So this hand tool is just about that same size. This hand tool, however, see how my finger really overlaps here? That diameter is a lot smaller. So if you're going to grip things with a small diameter, it's going to change it. You're not going to have as good of grip strength. Or if something's really wide, then it's going to decrease your optimal grip strength. There was a study that came out from the International Journal of Integrated Engineering that said that the diameter of the handle was really, out of all the bells and whistles of all the things that ergonomic tools can do, the diameter was more correlated with optimal grip strength than anything else. Long handle tools, they help your ergonomics too. So the longer the lever arm, the more power you have. So think about long handle tools. This one is a ratcheting tool, and it even has the ability to have even longer handles. That's good for trees, but it's also good to help to decrease the force you have to use and your grip strength. Another reason to use long handle tools like the hoe here, you know, if you're going to hoe and you're going to bend over and use this, it would be much easier on your back as you age to use something that's a long handled. And this handle here is a device, so then as you're hoeing like this, you'll have to hoe like this. See how that's the difference there? You're bending over here, you're straightening here, and you're getting the hoeing done, but your back is nice and straight. So long handle tools. You want the handles to have rubber on them and easy to grip with a little friction. So if you compare this tool to this tool, this one is aluminum, it's shiny, slippery, okay? Even though it has an ergonomic design here and it has some rubber to it, this tool versus this tool, I would pick this one because of the rubberized handle. It's got the right diameter, but also it's got a little bit of friction to it and a little cushion, and it'll be easier to use on your hands. Rubberized tools that have the rubberized handle can increase your grip strength by over 50%, and that's research based. So that's huge. So make sure that you definitely use rubberized tools instead of, just the wooden ones. Make sure they're rubber. You want to look at the angulation of the handle. So in these two tools, you can see that this one has an angle to it and this one does not. This one might provide more flexibility in keeping your wrist neutral when you work with the soil. So you don't want your wrist to be ulnarly deviated or radial deviated, flexed or extended too much as you work. You want to make sure that this wrist stays in a neutral position as you work, because it decreases the forces on your hand and wrist, and then it'll help to prevent injury. And you can see in these two hand pruners that this one's more angulated as you work with it. See the angle there? And this one is not. So this one, if you're working with a tool and you're going to be snipping something and it's angulated, it may help to keep your wrist in a more neutral position. So you'll have to play around with it to see what the angle of your wrist is as you're snipping things. Okay? You want to avoid repetitive motions. So if I took these hand pruners and I was going to prune a boxwood, repetitively moving all the time, constantly, that constant force. So if it's a lot of repetitive movements, you want to back up and think, you know, should I be using this, or should I maybe go with something like this? This is a hedge trimmer. It's a battery operated hedge trimmer, and maybe that would be much faster and much easier. You know, we want to work smarter as we get older and not harder. Some of the tools that are now powered tools, and they come with a battery. They have electric pruners, hand pruners now that come with a little battery that work really well. They have hedge trimmers, they have saws, they have weed eaters. They even have drill bits that are very long that you can hook to your drill, and then you can auger things, like you can do planting plants, and you can plant bulbs with it without even bending over or digging. So think about power tools when you're elderly or you have arthritis. This right here is called the handle flange. The studies have shown that this has no impact on grip strength at all. I do like them, however, because when I am cutting something, my hands just kind of rest there when I'm carrying it around. I'm getting ready to prune the next thing. It doesn't slip out of my hand as fast. But with grip strength, it has no effect on it whatsoever. So a lot of hand tools come with springs. So here's the spring in this one, and here's the spring in this one. And they feel a little different. Now, I looked at the research on this. There's not a lot of research on the different varieties of springs and which one's better. As a physical therapist, I like the spring assist because then I don't have to physically open the tool back up. You know, when you're working with scissors, you have to use your finger extensors and your finger flexors to open and close that tool. But with these, with the spring, you basically just have to work on the flexion, and then it automatically pops it back open for you. So I do like a spring action. If there is pliers or scissors or anything like that, I do like the spring action. Now, the sharpness of the tool really makes a difference on how you have to grip that. If you have a sharper tool, you don't have to use as much force. So make sure all your tools, every single tool that you have, make sure that you keep it clean. You want to wash it off every time you use it, preferably with some alcohol, and then you want to oil them down with mineral oil, but you also want to keep them sharp. So every once in a while you want to take the blade. Some of these blades come off, some of them don't, but you want to sharpen them. Usually I sharpen mine with a 30 to 45 degree angle with a sharpening stone. So make sure they're nice and sharp, because it really... Now, I think a lot of us know that when you're riding a lawnmower all day and that vibration, and you get off the lawnmower and your hands are numb and they're still vibrating, over time that is bad for your joints and your muscles in your hand and your feet too. So you want to make sure that you wear vibration gloves with a little bit of cushion. And studies have also shown that the higher vibration and the longer you use the tool really is a detriment for the tool. So make sure that your tools have a lower vibration. I think that of lower than 31 hertz, if you know what that is. So you want to make sure that it's lower than that, and you can use it all day long, I guess. But you just want to take into account that vibration does cause some detriment. And last but not least, we want to make sure that we use garden gloves that have grip to them. Now, the leather gloves are great, but they don't have as much grip as these rubberized gloves, mechanical gloves. So you want to go to the store and you want to feel them, you want to try them on, you want to make sure they're properly fit to your hand. You don't want them too big or too small, because you want to have the optimal grip for each of your tools. So that just gives you a little bit more strength, I think, in your grip when you use hand gloves, and it decreases fatigue. I want you to consider using kneelers or garden stools. This can be used either way. There's a lot of different varieties out there, but you want your knees padded, and you want to make sure that you're using the right ergonomics. With this one, I like it because you can kneel down onto it, you work in the garden, and then push yourself right back up. See how easy that is? Or you can turn it around and you can sit on it in the garden and work on your things in a sitting position. So garden stools or garden seats are something to look at to make sure that you're using good ergonomics in the garden. It's a tool too. So I hope this video was helpful in picking out the right tools when you're elderly, when you're not elderly, when you have arthritis or some kind of joint pain. We want to make sure that we use the right ergonomics when we garden, and we want to make sure that we're picking out the right tools. So when you go to the store, you need to look at the tools and figure out what's the most comfortable for you, and also follow some of my guidelines of the different factors that go along with ergonomics with the hand tools. And please follow me on Instagram, In the Garden Sue. I have a YouTube channel, and I have a blog called In the Garden Sue. So follow along, please.